Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining me again. Now, this one's all about Keith's question. So, Keith basically sparked this whole conversation around fonts, and I wanted to go and dig deep into exploring fonts a little bit as well. And a quick thank you as well to Sophie, Amber, and Kelly for subscribing, and Tony for all the positive feedback. Thank you, Tony. What we've got in terms of having the fonts is we've got the ability to, put a H1 in, have a heading, um, close off the heading, see the heading as it is down here. And again, we're using CodePen, which I can link to so you can see the code from the end of this. And as we've created this, we can go over to our CSS and we can say, well, this heading 1, I actually want the font size to be, 79 pixels, and it makes it bigger. So anything that you kind of put in here is the styling. That's the CSS bit. And to the point of me actually probably hiding the JavaScript because I don't think we're using it. So I'm just going to put it to the side here. And again, the HTML is just your content. So if you go in there and you say, I've got a paragraph of lorem ipsum, ... Then what we have is we've got a bit of a kind of color. Oh, that came out ugly. That's not what I want. This is what I want. Yeah, so you get that, which is your lorem ipsum, which is here. And again, you can go and say, look, my paragraph tags, they're going to be 79 pixels, right? But unless you attach it to what you want it to do, it doesn't know what needs to be 79 pixels. So you say, well, I want the margin on the left to be 79 pixels. So it pushes it out. And you go, no, I didn't want the margin. I actually, what I want is the font size to be 79 pixels. It makes the font size big. They're the things that you can do in terms of what we've been exploring so far. But the weird thing, I guess, what we've been talking about with Keith, if you've kind of been reading the comments, if you haven't, and you're like, who's Keith? What are you talking about? We were just saying that if you have a font family, and we say that we're going to have, Arial, it doesn't really, this is like becoming Helvetica, it doesn't really know what's going on, and when it has a quick look, it goes, all right, well, I'll have a look on the computer and see if I've got an Arial font. Now, the browser's smart enough to know that, there is no Arial, so it's just going to do that. It might try Impact, so it'll put Impact in there for you. It'll do most fonts that you have on your machine. Helvetica. So it'll do those things for you. And if you notice, if we go Arial, it doesn't really change much except for the little spacing at the top. But again, it's cheating. It's doing all those things. And one of the weirdnesses in web is that you don't actually put the font in to the web page. You're just using a font on someone's computer. So if someone doesn't have a font, what you're actually having to do is you're having to go Arial, comma, Helvetica, comma, sans serif. So that basically the computer goes, okay, do I have Arial? No. Do I have Helvetica? No. Do I have any font that doesn't have serifs? So sans serif font. Yes, I do. And then it displays it. So if we took these guys out and we said, actually, I don't want any of those, it will still show us a sans serif font. If we change this to serif, it will show us a serif font. I think monospace, which I never use. That's another type of font. So there's types of fonts, and then there's the actual fonts, which is Arial, Helvetica, and what do we have? Sans serif. And same for the paragraphs. I mean, the paragraph you can say, I want the font family to be Impact, and maybe if you don't have Impact, then use Tahoma, and if you don't have Tahoma, use, again, a sans serif or a monospace in this case. So you could do any of those things, and it's like, oh, what happens if I don't have Impact? Well, do you have a Tahoma? Okay, you might. Oh, actually you do. So then what happens if, you don't have it? Well, then you're going to go monospace font. And that's how all these weird font things kind of come to be. Obviously, if you do find your own font, there are ways around including that. We'll talk about it another day. But I just wanted to discuss fonts because they're so important, and you need to figure out what's a good font for you, what's a good heading font, what's a good body font. And when we're talking body font, you can see that's not a good body font. I mean, if I switch this P around and I say H1 and I say P up there, I'm going to swap out that for my heading and that for my body. Much nicer, the text looks much nicer that way, and your headings look nice and bold. So do explore what you can do. For neatness' sake, I'd probably move that whole line down the bottom here. So I'm declaring my H1 first and then my paragraph, just to keep it in line. But that's a quick way, because I don't want to copy and paste these things. I can just change what that's what that declaration is applying to. And obviously, there's a couple of ways to expand on this, but I just wanted to focus on the font family attribute here in CSS and what you can set it to, why, and how you can kind of get the most out of it. So your homework, should you choose to accept it, and again, apologies for the late upload for today, but go and find some fonts on websites. So find a website that has an amazing font and put a link in and say, what font is this using? And then we can kind of explore how do we find the names of the fonts that are being used on these other websites. So go back to your favorite websites, have a look there, check those out, see what happens as you have a look around, and bring those and share those so that we can explore those in a bit more detail. And I'm also going to promote Friday night 6 p.m. for our Collaborate session. If you can make it, please do. The recording from last week is up there, so you can check that out. But these diaries are just trying to be short and to the point, so hopefully you guys are getting some value from this. Again, apologies for it being late today. I will hopefully get one out earlier tomorrow. As always, send in your questions so I know what I'm focusing on, and really appreciate all the positive feedback from everyone. So have a good one and see you soon.